A man walks along the streets on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, heading toward the intersection of Broad Street and Wall Street. Holding his hand and keeping pace is his 9-year-old grandson. Young Daniel Frischberg is about to get a first-hand look at the New York Stock Exchange. He doesn't realize it yet, but his destiny is to be a major player in the world of finance. What he's learned over nearly 50 years, he'll teach you today, and it's all free of charge. There's a billionaire locked inside you. The key to freedom is information, the kind of information you find here on the MoneyMan Report. Now, here's the MoneyMan. Here's Dan Frischberg.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the new MoneyMan Report podcast, where we've been doing a lot of traveling, and a lot of people have been saying, where are you? You disappeared from the earth. Are you getting too old? Are you retired? Well, we're kind of retired, and we're doing a lot of traveling, but we're back on the podcast, the MoneyMan Report, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about because there are enormous opportunities that are developing here. And let me just set myself up here so that I can do this with you. So now what we're doing is we're going to be able to keep the right tone of voice. And I'm doing a lot of speech lessons. And so what I want to do is to be able to do a good job for you. But there are enormous opportunities that are opening. I'm doing this particular program in, I guess it's the 19th of August of 2021. And we've been, the stock market's been absolutely fabulous since March of 2020, when we realized, and I did several programs with you talking about what a fabulous opportunity it was, because the whole market's crashed as though the world was coming to an end. And of course it wasn't. And we were going to be able to do, we were going to get past COVID. We knew the world figured out by the summer that eventually we were going to get past COVID. And so the value of companies that are associated with getting people what they want and need, the value of those companies started to rise because the sales were increasing. And then they developed vaccines. And by November of 2020, it became clear that those vaccines worked, and that they were somewhere like 95% effective. And that was a tremendous boost, and the stock market started to run up again. Now, what has happened is in 2021 here, toward the end of the first half of 2021, it started to be clear that the gigantic acceleration here in the American economy, we've already had that acceleration. And now it's a question of just getting back to work and the economy getting back to normal. And now new variants of COVID come out, and the media love to tell you stories about how many people aren't getting it and how they're never going to get rid of COVID forever. We're never going to get herd immunity. And these people aren't getting the vaccine, and these people aren't getting it. And this vaccine works better, and this one doesn't work. They love it because they get your attention. People love to hear more about these COVID vaccines, and particularly how bad things are. So now there's this view here in August of 2021 that the central bank is going to start to they're going to start to taper the support they've been giving to the economy. And meanwhile, people have been buying more and more and starting to travel and go to bars, and retail sales have been increasing. But all of this was happening at a zooming, accelerating, and now it's getting kind of back to normal, where we get normal growth. So the stock market is taking this, well, rather than explaining why people are doing what they're doing, I can simply tell you that our market X-ray is showing underlying weakness. It's not a bear market, but we're having these, I call them divergences, but I don't want to get too technical. What's happening is when the stock market, when the S&P 500 makes an all-time high, which it did only a couple of days ago, when it makes an all-time high, you would think also that it's an all-time high in the number of companies that are advancing and the upside volume. And there's a lot of new highs coming out. And those are consistent with the stock market that's going up. And meanwhile, you would have the downside volume shrinking and the number of declining issues shrinking. That's what our market X-ray generally shows. And those indicators are very good for telling us what's going on beneath the surface. And right now, beneath the surface, the stock market has been getting weaker and weaker. And meanwhile, the S&P 500, which is being run by just a few big companies, that's been making new highs every other day. But the companies generally that make up the stock market have been, they call it rotation. What's happening is for a couple of days, these companies that are new technology, they go up and everything else goes down. And then they start to go down, and the companies that are about rebuilding, industrial companies that are about rebuilding the economy, copper mines, steel mines, manufacturing companies, they start to go up, and they go up for a few days, and everybody starts to, the lemmings who follow each other and don't really know what they're investing in, they start to follow each other, and those stocks of that sector start to run up. And as they run up, the other ones that were going up last week, they start to go down. The companies with the new digital transformation technologies and the cool new ideas and the medicines. So there isn't a coherent bull market rally going on. Instead, you have a rotation with more stocks going down than going up basically every day, even though the indexes are hitting a new high frequently and did so just a couple of days ago. It's very confusing. A lot of investors just losing interest because they can't figure out what to invest in. First, the thing they're buying goes up, and then they find out that the other thing is going up, so they sell that. They're trying to follow each other, but they're just running around playing musical chairs. They're not making money. And what we're going to have eventually is suddenly the world is going to figure out that COVID is just a matter of time. It's going to be a thing of the past. And we get on with rebuilding our lives. And then we get a coherent stock market rally with the indexes going up, but also more companies going up than going down, and more companies hitting new highs and more upside volume, and all of those things that are consistent in a bull market, consistent in a bull market, they just start to happen. And so we resume having real demand, and it becomes easy to invest because we've got a couple more years of rebuilding. There's another thing that's happening that's going to make you a lot of money if you just understand it and take advantage of it. Because all this money printing that they have been doing, first they were doing it, creating trillions of dollars and pouring them into the economy and sending them to people trying to support the economy. And that was a good thing to do back in March or the summer of 2020. But it hasn't been a good thing to do since the economy's been recovering, and a lot of people we didn't need it. But the government now is run by a new administration, and they want to buy votes. They want to spend a lot of money on infrastructure, which would be good, but they also want to send money to the people who vote for them. The people who vote for them are generally The people who don't make a lot of money, who don't have good businesses. In fact, the people who had to stay home because of COVID, they tend to be the poorer, poorly paid hourly workers, because the people who had a good business, they got to work from home. The people that had a special profession, they got to work from home. They didn't really have a lot of interruption of their income. But the low paid hourly workers, the ones that have to show up in order to get paid, the people who mow your lawn, collect the garbage, and the low paid workers at the office, and the prison guards, and all those people, they can't phone it in. They have to show up. And so when they're slowed down, when whatever they're doing is slowed down because of COVID, they lose their income and they're in trouble. They're the ones who vote for the Democrats. And so there is a concerted desire now to keep printing more and more money and to keep sending it to people to finance them not going to work, to finance them doing all the things that not too wealthy people want to do. But what they're doing is when you print trillions of dollars, it means the dollar's not very scarce. And when the Japanese print trillions of dollars worth of yen, and the Europeans do it with euro, and the British do it with pounds, and the Chinese do it with yuan, there gets to be so much paper money around that the value of the paper money goes down. To us, because we think in dollars, it looks like everything else is going up. And that's the way it's going to be. So you can invest money in the long run in anything they can't print, anything that people want and need, anything that's scarce and in demand, and that people need to get the lifestyle they want. You can invest in companies, you can own companies that provide that, and you can make yourself rich, because those companies that are doing things that people need in order to have the life they want, they have pricing power. They can raise their prices. They can adjust for inflation. They become more and more valuable, and what they do becomes more and more valuable. So the more these guys print dollars, the more they flood the economy with money, they make the money that they print worth less, but they make the things that are in demand that everybody wants worth more, especially when it's a company producing something and they're the best at doing it, and there isn't a lot of competition and everybody wants it. They have pricing power. They can adjust and raise their prices with a little bit of inflation. So if inflation is rising at 3 or 4% a month, a company that's a platform that Amazon is built on and helps Amazon's program get to you on your telephone, if it's a platform that Amazon's built on, they can raise the price of that by a couple of percent a month. So they're in a position to keep up. Their stock is going to keep up with inflation, even though your currency, it looks like their stock is going up. What's really happening is the value of your currency, the value of your dollar, is going down. Now, that means your savings are getting less valuable. It means your safe investments in bonds are getting less valuable. So you can make a fortune by investing wisely in companies that are doing things that everybody needs in order to live the life they want, and doing it effectively and doing it profitably. You can make a fortune doing that, and they're helping you make even more money by making the dollar worth less, making everything you can't print worth more. You have this fabulous opportunity. It's facing you right now. And I want to talk to you when we come back. I'm going to take a little break. When we come back, I want to talk to you a whole series, which we're going to continue for many of these podcasts. And it's going to be about the lies that Wall Street's been telling you, that almost everybody now believes. It's ubiquitous, and it's keeping you from getting rich. It's helping the Wall Street companies, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, Bank of America, all these guys, helping them make a fortune investing their money, but it's keeping you right where you are, keeping you from getting rich. These are things that are blocking you And we're going to cover them and get rid of them and get them out of your mind. So you're going to be able to participate in what is turning out to be the greatest opportunity since World War II. Maybe it's going to be the greatest opportunity of your life. We'll be right back right after these messages. This is the Money Man Report podcast.
You've heard it said right here. With enough leverage, you can multiply your investing strength and move mountains. So think about it. How'd you like to own companies like Roku or MasterCard or Raytheon and put down as little as 5 or 10% to unlock the treasure chest of unlimited upside gains? You can, all the while drastically reducing your risk, and you can do it with zero borrowing costs. You just need that leverage and a little know-how. So Dan Frischberg is going to allow you to pick his brain to better understand the concept of leverage. These are special online training sessions called the Pick Dan's Brain Option Service. You can use just a little bit of money to potentially make incredible returns. If you want to make real money, you owe it to yourself to take advantage of this once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity. All you have to do to try it is to go online and register so you can see the results for yourself. The cost is next to nothing, and look what's waiting for you. Each week, Dan will discuss a few detailed trades, quality, actionable trades. You get detailed instructions on buying and selling specific put and call options. The Pick Dan's Brain Option Service shares specific underlying stocks, expiration dates, strike prices, and shows you how much money you could make instantly. It's Dan Frischberg's time-tested, proven money-making discipline that he's used for 50 years to make himself and a lot of other people rich. Lots of other benefits are waiting for you, too, if you just register at themoneyman.com. That's all one word, themoneyman.com, for the Pick Dan's Brain Option Service. This is about teaching you the knowledge and skills. It's your responsibility to apply these skills and knowledge to your specific situation. It's too much to detail here, but all the info is right there at themoneyman.com.
You're tuned in to the Money Man Report with your host, TV and radio money man, Dan Frischberg. For more information about everything we're talking about, go to themoneyman.com right now. That's themoneyman.com.
Welcome back. I'm Dan Frischberg, and this is the Money Man Report. We're resuming this podcast after taking a couple of months of break. We've had tremendous amount of emails and requests for us to resume this. It becomes easy now because we can put it up on our website. We can put it on Spotify. We can put it on all these places, and we can even put the video of this podcast up on YouTube. We can make it easy to circulate. It doesn't have to go through a satellite provider. It doesn't have to have a lot of sponsors and stuff. We can do this for you, and it's easy to distribute, and we're going to be able to keep doing it. But I want to cover one of the Wall Street lies. One of the things, what's been happening is it started out being a lie that the big brokers like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch and those kinds of guys, it was a lie that they were foisting on the population. But what's happened is that over the last 30 years, these lies have become ubiquitous. That means they're everywhere. And they've told them so much that the announcers on television start to believe them. And now the people that they train to be your financial advisor and your broker and your insurance agent, they train them to believe all these things. And it's been going on for many years. These people believe this stuff. And they tell it to you. And because they go on television and tell it, and now the announcers and the people on CNBC and the people on Fox, they've heard this so much that they now believe it. And they start to pass it on. And if you even take finance in college, the Finance 1 Introduction to Finance, that teacher, he's heard it for 20 or 30 years. He believes it. He hasn't really thought about it, but it's lies, and they're holding you down. And I'm going to cover the first one. It's an easy one right now. And every financial expert tells you this, and it's all baloney. Now, think about this. What they tell you is you're too dumb to actually do what we do at Goldman Sachs. We are making a fortune investing money because we've got the brilliant MBAs, and they're sitting there with a bank of computers and they're doing original research all day. What do you think would happen if I asked one of those guys, let's say I was his boss, and I said, what are you doing today? And he said, well, I'm investing in what I know. Have you heard this? Stick to investing in what you know. This was a story that started with the guy that managed Fidelity Magellan 30 years ago, but he spread it around. Magellan was very effective. It was a great mutual fund, made money. And so people started to, without thinking, pass that idea on. What was your secret? Well, I invest in things I know. You should invest in things you know. Now, think about this. If investing in things you know worked, you would already be rich, wouldn't you? Because the things you know haven't made you rich. And more importantly, do you think that Goldman Sachs, up at the top of the Empire State Building or wherever their top guys are, they make billions investing their money? Do you think they stick with investing in things they know? Or do you think what they do is they find out what people want and need, and the things that the companies that provide it, that are making a profit, that can raise money easily, that have patents that are difficult to duplicate, difficult to compete with? Companies that are the leading ones in their industry, that are inventing great new ways to do things and that are doing it profitably, and that the people who want to live like the richest Americans, those people are using those techniques that these people are developing. An example of that would be CrowdStrike, a company that solves, what they do is they solve hacking. And they do it for big companies. They solve hacking by artificial intelligence, so that when we were having that hacking a month or two ago, coming from those businessmen in Russia, those hackers, they couldn't get through to any of the clients of CrowdStrike. The minute they hit, CrowdStrike's artificial intelligence figures them out, makes the company immune, and now they've got a network. All their clients are on this network. By artificial intelligence, they immediately spread that solution so that none of their clients, none of their customers are vulnerable. Now, this hacking is really, we got to get past hacking in order to have the digital transformation that we all want in the world. So this is a company, they're the best at what they do. Each transaction they do is profitable. They keep inventing new services and selling it to their customers. It's a great company. Now, you may not know anything about it, but you better learn about it. And Goldman Sachs made a fortune, and Morgan Stanley, by investing in that company and buying long-term options on the stock of CrowdStrike. And we just made about 30 times our money over the last year by investing in the stock of CrowdStrike. So what I want to tell you, the lie is that everybody's telling you, stick to what you know, invest in what you know. They don't invest in what they know. They find out what's going to make a lot of money, and then they learn about it and invest in it. They don't stick to what they know. They're constantly increasing what they know about. And if you want to be a successful investor, you're going to do that too. You're going to figure out, what do people need? What company is providing things that people need in order to have the life they want? You're going to find the best vendors who are doing that profitably, with a growing clientele, with special intellectual property and patents and special connections and knowledge so that nobody else can do it. The best at managing the business. You're going to find them, and when you invest in them, you're going to make a fortune. And then when you learn how to do it using a lot of leverage, which I give lessons on, then you're going to make a fortune. Now, if you want to find out about that, all you have to do is just email me. Go to themoneyman.com. A little chat box will open up, and you just say, Dan, I want to learn it. Tell me your email, and we will get that information. And you'll see a little video that's about golden rule investing. So that's all I have time for today. We're going to get to many, many more of these Wall Street lies that are holding you back. This is the opportunity, maybe of your lifetime, certainly of the many, many years. You can make a fortune, but not if you're held back by these Wall Street lies. So that's it for today. Go to themoneyman.com and leave me a message if you want to find out about my free webinar, my free workshop on Golden Rule investing. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day and watch for the MoneyMan report. If you want to make sure you don't miss it, go to themoneyman.com. But we're up on Spotify. We're on all the podcast places. So thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the sound of your money growing. This has been the MoneyMan Report with your host, radio and TV money man, Dan Frischberg. Hear it again every weekday morning here on Bradenton's WWPR, broadcasting worldwide. It's Better Living Radio.